Good evening and welcome to Cycle, a program dedicated to latest news on economy and politics in Mongolia. I'm Anar Gambatar. Energy Resources LLC signed an agreement on October 4, 2021 with other coal mining companies operating in the greater Tauntalga area, namely Irtnes Tauntalga Jointstock Company and Tauntalga Jointstock Company, for joint financing to establish a terminal for containerized coal shipments at the Qashonsukhat border checkpoint. On July 2, 2021, the government of Mongolia issued Resolution number 185 to establish terminals for containerized coal shipments at key border checkpoints that are utilized for coal exports from Mongolia to China. Accordingly, a 30-hectare area at the Qashonsukhat border checkpoint was allotted for Qashonsukhat terminals by relevant authorities. Qashonsukhat terminal construction work was financed and completed by the group and commissioned by the relevant authorities on September 20, 2021. The joint financing agreement outlines principles for sharing costs required to fund the project in line with the agreed capacity utilization among the above-mentioned entities operating in the greater Tauntalga area. Mr. Yonda, Minister of Mining and Heavy Industry, said the terminal's initial capacity is expected to facilitate up to 8 million tons of coal exports annually. It is designed to reach a capacity of over 19 million tons per annum by gradually increasing deployed handling equipment in line with the overall containerized coal transportation demand. The President of Mongolia, Khursokhna, has issued a decree directing the government to develop a comprehensive national program to combat climate change and desertification. The decree was presented to the public by the Chief of Staff of President Isotwater and the Minister of Nature, Environment and Tourism, Ortnasan, at the press conference. In order to reduce global climate change and increase Mongolia's contribution and participation in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, the direction was given to develop a national program in line with the Vision 2050 long-term development policy. The goal is to create a legal environment in which at least 1% of Mongolia's GDP is to be spent annually on combating climate change and desertification and on increasing environmentally friendly and green facilities through public and local investment. The decree also provides the re-establishment of the Forestry Agency and establishment of a forestry unit based on a public-private partnership. The government is also instructed to correlate tree planting with the From Welfare to Employment policy, provide policy support to citizens and businesses, promote tree planting, create water resources for irrigation, and introduce advanced technologies to create ponds. The Minister of Nature, Environment and Tourism, Ortnasan, said, "We have set up working groups to launch a national campaign to plant 1 billion trees and ensure the implementation of it over 10 years. As of today, almost 77% of Mongolia's territory is affected by desertification. It is estimated that if the goal of this campaign is achieved, about 5 million hectares of 120 million hectares of highly desert-affected land will be improved and forest cover will be increased by 9%, while greenhouse gas emissions will be reduced by about 600,000 tons. The minister also noted that after the decision to launch a national campaign to plant 1 billion trees, large private companies have taken the initiative to plant 20 to 120 million trees over a 10-year period, while emphasizing that the public-private partnerships will come about within the realization of this campaign. It is planned to 1 billion trees in the 3 phases. The first phase, or the preparatory phase, will be taking place in 2021 through 2024, and the second, or the intensification phase, will be implemented in 2024 through 2026. The third, or sustainable implementation phase, is planned for 2027 through 2030. In a statement delivered at the general debate of the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York on September 22nd, President Khursokhna announced Mongolia's launch of campaign to plant 1 billion trees by 2030. The Mongolian Film Institute and the US government's Millennium Challenge Corporation announced the winners of the Water Stories film competition, which focused on the importance of water for Ulaanbaatar city. The US Embassy's Deputy Chief of Mission, Gregory May, emphasized the importance of art and culture and noted that, just as the Mongolia Water Compact seeks to boost the supply of high-quality water, so the Water Stories Film Competition seeks to boost the supply of high-quality filmmakers of all ages. Mr. May presented awards to 3 filmmakers, including the grand prize for Hotlang for her Precious Gem short film, which competition panelists described as a creative combination of current water issues, mythology, live action, and animation. Sanja Baltang received a special mention for his short film Water, which the panelists appreciated that this plea for changing water consumption habits was conveyed in a manner that was as clear as water. Finally, Mantoja received an award in the Young Filmmakers category for her short film Coupon, which is creative use of the limited resources to address the inequality of water use among apartment and gear area residents. The competition was organized in conjunction with the Mongolia Water Compact, which is funded by the MCC. The compact will build the critical infrastructure necessary to sustain Ulaanbaatar's water supply and will positively impact more than 55% of Mongolia's population. In less than 3 decades, the population of Ulaanbaatar has nearly tripled in size, explains Satantoros Irtentocht, CEO of the Millennium Challenge account Mongolia. However, the supply in less than 3 decades, the population of Ulaanbaatar city has nearly tripled in size, explains Satantoros Irtentocht, CEO of the Millennium Challenge account Mongolia. However, the water supply has remained virtually the same, creating the conditions for a severe water shortage. Mongolia's liberalized and competitive telecoms market comprises a number of operators which have steadily eroded the dominance of the once main telco, Telekom Mongolia, over the years. Fixed line penetration increased steadily in the years until 2018 as more people took on fixed line access for voice calls and to access copper-based broadband services. However, the number of lines fell in 2019 and again and more sharply in 2020, partly through the economic consequences of the pandemic and partly due to the migration of the mobile platform and the VoLP. Fixed broadband penetration remains low, mainly due to a limited number of fixed lines and the dominance of the mobile platform. The attraction of fixed broadband as a preferred access where it is available is waning as the mobile networks are upgraded with greater capacity and capabilities. The growing popularity of mobile broadband continues to underpin overall broadband and the telecom sector growth, with Mongolia's market very much being dominated by mobile services supported by widely available LTE. This will largely determine and shape the future direction of Mongolia's developing digital economy. Badecom notes that the outbreak of the pandemic continues to have a significant impact on production and supply chains globally. During the coming year, the telecom sector to various degrees is likely to experience a downturn in mobile device production, while it may also be difficult for network operators to manage workflows when maintaining and upgrading existing infrastructure. On the consumer side, spending on telecom services and devices is under pressure from the financial effect of large-scale job losses and the consequent restriction on the disposable incomes. However, the crucial nature of telecom services, both for general communication as well as a tool for home working, will offset such pressures. In many markets, the net effect should be steady through reduced increase in subscriber growth. The report also covers the responses of the telecom operators as well as government agencies and regulators as they react to the crisis to ensure that citizens can continue to make optimum use of telecom services. This can be reflected in subsidy schemes and the promotion of the telehealth and teleeducation among the other solutions. A novel crypto asset recently launched from Mongolia aims to provide a buffer against inflation. IHC, or inflation hedging coin, launched on the 25th of August this year, has already caused a stir in its initial offering, selling out its first tranche of 100 billion tokens for $10 million in a matter of minutes. The crypto project, the brainchild of a consortium of native tech entrepreneurs, focuses on burning tokens or permanently removing them to cut down the rate of inflation and increase the value of its asset. It is specifically designed with a completely new financial architecture that allows individuals the opportunity to operate outside the bounds of traditional, centralized economic systems. Pandemic supply chain issues are threatening global economic recovery from COVID-19 related disruptions and lockdowns. In addition, the US House of Representatives is currently wrestling with the implications of increasing the debt ceiling beyond $28.4 trillion. If it fails to suspend the current limitation, the US Treasury will be unable to pay its bills later this month, and havoc will undoubtedly be wreaked on the global economy. The COVID-19 pandemic has given central banks little option other than to grow the money supply to spur economic growth. However, adopting an easy money printing policy threatens to cause heavy inflation in the years ahead. There are already early signs of local inflation in many parts of the world, threatening the purchasing power of many households. The Center for Financial Stability, a New York-based non-profit think tank, notes that inflation measurements in 49 countries have all been rising since the beginning of the year, and this can be noticed in the surging prices of many products and services globally. Meanwhile, as central banks rush to print more fiat currencies not backed a commodity like gold, cryptocurrencies are surging in popularity due to their function as programmable money that can be used to hedge against the devastating effects of inflation. IHC provides citizens a hedge against the behavior of federal banks with a system that ensures that money is no longer controlled by interest rates, bank commissions, and inflation. From a technical perspective, what happens is that IHC tokens are taken out of circulation by placing them in a public wallet, also called an Ether address, from which these tokens can never be retrieved. The capital allocated to such permanent removal from the market can be either from the team's reserves or as a part of the predetermined buyback model. The IHC token burning process will continue until the token supply drops to match the total number of tokens in circulation. At that point, transaction fees will drop from the current rate of 5%. The initially high fees designed to encourage the so-called diamond hands to continue holding the coin and discourage sellers, a mechanism which helps strengthen the stability of the ecosystem. To fulfill their commitment to burn IHC tokens on an annual basis, IHBit LLC, the parent company of IHC, will conduct a buyback program from the open market on a quarterly basis. IHC is a brainchild of Irchen Bayersachen, who co-founded the platform with his partners Idrot Batirtan, Gantik Bayermagna, Mukhjatan Batir, and Mukh Irtan Buranjargal. The idea was birthed from the frustrations of the Bank of Mongolia printing nearly 30% of the nation's fiat currency in a short period, thus sparking rising costs and increasing the nation's debt. Their first-hand experience leading to the creation of the IHC token may well ensure that the same situation never happens again. A new electronic visa for Mongolia has been launched following a decision made by Parliament in December 2020. This will allow foreign travelers to obtain the permission to visit the country online. The move comes as one of a series of amendments to Mongolia's immigration regulations made during the last parliamentary session of 2020. Mongolia unveiled its new e-visa system on June 1, 2021. The country's entry restrictions have been loosened for certain travelers, and it is expected that e-visas will become available in the near future as the situation escalates further. The electronic visa application system has been officially launched in Mongolia through the website evisa.mn from October 1st, reports the Ministry of Environment and Tourism. Through the electronic system, nationals of 36 countries will be able to obtain visas for the purposes of tourism, participating in sports, culture and arts events, and transit. The updated regulations for the issuance of Mongolian visa was approved through Government Resolution number 192 issued in July 2021. The template for the electronic visa and the list of countries whose nationals are eligible for obtaining the visas have been recently approved by a joint order of the Minister of Justice. The template for the electronic visa and the list of countries whose nationals are eligible for obtaining the visas have been recently approved by a joint order of the Minister of Justice and Home Affairs and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Before the e-visa, travelers from other countries were divided into two main categories: those that can visit visa-free for short periods of time and those who must apply for a visa at an overseas Mongolian embassy or consulate. This is set to change with the introduction of a Mongolian e-visa. Mongolian visas are widely available for entry to many countries around the world and are becoming increasingly common options. Mongolia is the latest nation to take this step into the digital future of the travel industry. The concept of issuing visas only in paper format has been changed, and new regulations have been introduced to issue visas in electronic and printed form in line with international trends and to improve the registration and control of foreigners. China is one of Mongolia's largest trade partners and economic powerhouse and the leading supplier of manufactured goods. China is also landlocked to Mongolia's major transit hub, other than Russia, providing access to most of Mongolia's economic activities and trades with other countries. However, prolonged shipping congestion, particularly at Tianjin and Dalian ports and the Hot Land port of the CHINA-MONGOLIA border, is disrupting the supply chain to Mongolia, and the two sides are seeking ways to overcome the unexpected challenge. Since late April 2021, tens of thousands of shipping containers have been congested in the South China Sea, disrupting distribution and supply chains for the global market. As a result, Mongolian shipments have been disrupted at all major points such as Tianjin, Dalian, and Irihot. Since April, between 4,378 and 5,000 shipping containers due to for Mongolia have been stuck at these major shipping ports. All three are crucial for China-Mongolia trade and for Mongolia's imports of goods from third neighbor countries such as Turkey, South Korea, Japan, and the United States. On September 16th, the Mongolian delegation attended the Shanghai Cooperation Organization 20th Anniversary Summit in Dushanbe, Tajikistan. While Mongolian President Khursuhokhna joined the summit online, his representative, Deputy Prime Minister Amarsakhn Samboyang, met with the Chinese Foreign Minister. While Mongolian President Khursuhokhna joined the summit online, his representative, Deputy Prime Minister Amarsakhn Samboyang, met with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi to discuss short-term plans for China-Mongolia trade, particularly concerning the Tianjin port congestion and its economic impact. During their meeting, Amarsakhn specifically pointed out the economic challenges both countries have faced since the COVID-19 pandemic began. In response to the virus, Mongolia closed borders with both its neighbors, Russia and China, and for 4 months. These unexpected changes brought economic disruptions between Mongolia and China. Amarsakhn highlighted that China, as Mongolia's comprehensive strategic partner, has been assisting in Mongolia's efforts to battle the COVID-19 pandemic and thanked Beijing for its generous donation of vaccines in early 2021. However, Amarsakhn also emphasized the importance of the Mongolia-China trade, particularly the 4,378 shipping containers currently jammed at Tianjin port. The Deputy Prime Minister called on the two sides to focus on making real progress in accelerating the flow of goods through border crossings, increasing coal exports, and reducing the congestion of containers that contain both business and personal items shipped from third neighbor countries. In response, Wang stated that China could continue to assist Mongolia's effort in battling COVID-19 by supplying vaccines and financial support. Also, he highlighted the Chinese government's willingness to pay attention to speed up the handling of goods at Tianjin port that are destined for Mongolia. Moreover, the Mongolian Association of United Cargo and Freight recently released a statement that although goods are slowly moving through the Tianjin port congestion, there is only one train going towards Mongolia. Thus, the shipping containers destined for Mongolia are in motion, but not fast enough to have a noticeable economic impact. Even while other containers are beginning to move, the volume and pressure at the port remain the same. The increasing price of freight, containers, rentals, and storage are beginning to weigh on import-based small businesses. According to a September 2021 report from Mongolian Customs, in the first 9 months of 2021, Mongolia exported 88.2% of its goods to China, while China was the largest single source of Mongolia's imports, accounting for almost 40%. As the global freight rates continue to plunge, Mongolia and China must accelerate economic activities to avoid additional financial burdens on the small businesses and the Mongolian economy at large. Well, that's all for this episode of The Cycle. We will see you in 2 weeks' time. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.